What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast, episode 85. And this is a special treat. Now, I forgot to record the intro and the outro after the episode. So if you're watching this on video, I'm going to be in a different place, in a different clothes, with different hair, and just owning all the things about that. You know, sometimes we get to flow through life. Well, these special guys that I got to interview on the podcast, we're going to call them the Dude Dads. Jeri and Tom are amazing, amazing human beings. And they step in and we talk about all different kinds of stuff when it comes to masculine strength, what's happening in the school systems, you know, how men can show up in their life again and reclaim this energy within them in the movement we're seeing in the world. And I think it's such an important conversation for us to have in connection with the masculine frame from actual men who live and breathe this every day. These guys have their own podcast called Do Dads, and we'll have the links for their social platforms inside of the show notes as well, because I know that you're going to want to connect into them. They're funny. They can hold space. They are out there making moves. And as you guys know, if you've been here for a while, this is my MO and this is what I love about life. And so I am just so grateful that I got to spend time with them, that I got to have these conversations with them, and that we got to step into this space together. So no further ado, here we are, episode 85 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Okay, I'm excited to have you guys here today. Like I don't have no idea what we're going to talk about, which is even more beautiful. And
That's how I like it.
Right? Isn't it? It's so good that way. So why don't we just like start about like, this is Jeri and this is Tom. They're the Dude Dads. Is that what you guys call yourself? Like, would
Yep.
you? Yeah. Like
Yep,
when
the
you
Dude
guys are out
Dads
in public.
podcast. I call
Yeah.
myself an athlete, but insert Tom and Jerry jokes here. We should have called it the Tom and Jerry show.
You should
But
have.
no,
Too cheesy.
a little bit too cheesy, even for us. As cheesy as we are, that's a little bit too. It's over the top.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I would listen to your podcast if you called it the Tom and Jerry Show.
I'm sure
You'd have one listener. I don't know how many more, but at least one.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So tell us about the movement of this like Dude Dads podcast. Why did you guys start a podcast called Dude Dads, and like what is it about?
So it was really Tom's idea. He was like
Scratch that. It was my wife's idea.
I'm sorry, Tom's wife's idea. The women are always the geniuses. Um, so Tom hit me up. It was about a year ago.
Oh,
When
yeah,
the
it's been a
first
while.
conversation comes up where he's like, "Hey, Candace," because that's how he did say. Candace said, "You guys should do it. You should do a podcast. You have so many stories. You're always talking about being dudes, and Tom's lived multiple lives." And so he reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to do this?" And it was obviously more of a conversation than that.
I
And
said I
I'm
wouldn't do it if you don't do it.
yeah.
Because
So
I mean, look, it's cool to do everything with your friends, but
Yeah.
like being a business owner, I know like if I actually want to make this happen, I can't be chasing people down. It's not going to be a feel good thing for 2 seconds and we don't do it for 5 months. I'm like, if you do it, I'll do it because I know he'll go all the way.
Yeah.
So
Love
that was an attaboy for me that he at least thought that highly of me, that like Jerry's not going to half-ass it. He's not going to give up after 2 months, 3 months, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that made me feel good. But
Yeah.
no, so that's how it started. And really our first few episodes were just him and I bullshitting, just sitting next to each other like this. And we started out with a GoPro camera,
Yeah.
just like mounted it up on top of books and just recorded.
Sony,
And
Sony Alpha.
it sounded like dog shit. It looked like hell because it was like so far away. But after the first episode, we recorded for like an hour and a half, and we got done and we were like fired up.
I was like, there's something here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the therapy session that came out of it, I think is what really pushed us to keep going.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll let Tom pick up here, like an hour and a half of you shutting your phones off, locking yourself in this little room. This is Tom's office. Like this is, there's a computer desk over there and a printer, and we turned this into a studio.
Love it.
And escape from the world for that hour and a half and just talk. And we talked about like our kids and our own fathers and what we had going on and that sort of thing, and our goals. And I think our first episode was called Unemployable. And we talked about how like we're both unemployable human beings. I mean, at this point in our lives, I can't go to a 9-to-5 W-2 job. Like it's just, I'm not that type of dude. Tom's really never been that type of guy. And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah. We even said after the first one, we're like, if this don't work, we're still gonna do it because it just felt. I was like, dude, this felt good to talk about this stuff. Like, because I remember, I can still remember the feeling of the first one being nervous. Like, I don't know what the hell we're gonna do. I don't know what the hell we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
And I also then also by like the third or fourth, I was like, all right, Tom, you got to pay attention to the etiquette, how we're rolling, how, if I was a viewer, how would I be looking, how I'm saying it? Am I in a good position?
Right.
Are my hands in my way? Like just picking
Yeah.
apart little
Yeah.
things.
Is
Yeah.
my gut showing?
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah,
too.
man.
Do we
Yeah,
have too
gut.
much? Do we have too much crotch in the shot?
Yeah.
We actually had that conversation not long ago. Like, did we just record it and just like a crotch shot? Because we had the camera just a little bit lower. Like,
Yeah.
we're just sitting there spread eagle for the viewers. Like now, I got to start like stuffing things down my pants, and you know what I mean?
It it was definitely easy to make the decision to do like just base it on being very masculine dads
Yes.
that are self-employed who include their wives inside of all that masculinity and their kids. And about a couple episodes in, I was like, that's definitely our thing. That's what we know. That's what we can speak to. And it just times up well that the internet has so much of the opposite, very toxic
Yes.
masculinity, where we're like, well, so we think that we could show like, a very level-headed, father who, is very masculine and has some stubbornness and opinions but
Hmm.
also is willing to look at every, person.
We don't exclude
Yeah, we
anybody.
don't, yeah,
There's no
Yeah.
bigotry. There's
yeah,
no misogyny. There's no,
yeah. There was at
homo.
one point some misogyny,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
back in the early days. Yeah.
But like, and that's really the thing. It's it's okay to be a masculine alpha type male.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're an asshole, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's the opposite, right? I
Hmm.
think the facade of what society and social media might portray as like the masculine man is really like beta dudes because they're the loudest and the bitchiest and they're the
Mm.
assholes, right?
Thank you.
We,
Yeah.
so it's really backwards. And I feel like if we enjoy talking,
Yeah.
we're social people.
Yeah.
So if through having good conversations with folks like yourself,
Hmm.
like a true, masculinity shines through in that. You say, like, well, these guys aren't assholes. They're talking with a spiritual chick. They're talking with two gay dads. They're talking with, teen mom from
Yeah.
MTV, and
Yeah.
like we're all friends. We all have great conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's if we can use this platform to kind of shift that way of thinking, I think that'd be great.
It also evolved
Yeah.
into let's not pretend that men are
Mm.
built a certain way and women are built
Mm.
a certain way. That was one of the big things too, of being
Mm.
like, we're leaning into what we are. We're
Hmm.
men. That's what we can speak to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are, what women can be like this, men can be like that, and that's where we try to meet middle ground where we bump heads. It's like, look, this is how we're designed. You know what I mean? It's not,
Yeah.
we don't want to have things come off the wrong way, but it's how we're engineered.
You talk a lot of Colleen, you talk a lot about leaning into things.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
I think the focus being on if men can just lean into being the best man, right? The best
Right.
protector, the best provider, the best
Yes.
father to our
Yep.
children, um, and a real good patriarch of your family. Like we're eventually gonna have all these, we've got spouses, we have kids. Hopefully I live to see grandkids.
Yep.
If you're lucky enough, you live to see great grandkids, like my grandparents have. Um, but if we lean into what we are, then we could truly be the best human being possible. And
Hmm.
I believe the same thing goes for women. If women could just lean into
Oh,
what
for
they
sure.
are, right? Be
Yeah.
because we can't exist without women. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we don't have that nurturing piece that women do, that natural thing. There's a reason why babies and little kids gravitate more towards their mother.
Hmm.
That's inside of us. And if a woman leans into that, then I think in the big picture is it creates better human beings all
Yeah.
across the board, right?
Yes.
Better
Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to ask a question. So, like, let's just define this or talk about some of the mechanisms behind this masculine man. Like, what does it actually mean for you guys, and how do you show up in this, like, on the daily, consistently in your worlds, like with your families, with your businesses, with each
Hmm.
other? Because I think that there's some people out there that may think that they know, but from like a real raw perspective of you guys living it and breathing it and being it, I would love to just hear what you guys have to say about it.
I think the number one thing for being a man is having a creed, is
Mm,
having, where you draw lines,
mm,
lines that, you would be willing to step over. You have to know yourself to take care of others. You have to be confident in who you are because you've already accepted challenges.
yeah.
You've conquered fears. You've looked at insecurities. You don't go out
Mm,
there and move around like a teenager.
right.
And you slowly build your creed, that you're going to have as your family, as your pedigree, and this is how we roll, and you stick to that,
Mm,
and you don't care what other people think. You do what is the right thing when no one's looking. You're
yeah.
not a pretender, you know.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and also part of that is while you get to that point of, of a comfortable spot of knowing who you are and fighting fears and just fighting against life, and you also turn back and pull people with you. That's part of being a man, then
Yeah.
showing how, someone else can do that and paying that forward. But yeah, definitely having I would say for me, having the creed. No, when I walk out in the world, I know exactly who I am. I know
Right.
exactly who I'm going to be. I have no one will ever come in and have the influence of whatever what I'm going to do. I will gladly lose an opportunity if I don't like it. You'll never, if we blew up and we had sponsors trying to come on
Yeah.
and say something weird, I'm like, all right, see you.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
will we have a spine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
we have our playbook.
Yeah.
Love it.
I
Yeah.
think like you go into like the little like micro things to what Tom's saying, because I agree with everything there, but it's also right. Are you going to be a true provider? Right. And
Mm,
that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing if your wife makes more money than you. That's not a bad thing, right?
yeah.
Because we all have a role to play,
Yeah.
right? But I don't think you should just be a slug. I don't think you should just be a trophy husband. As
Yeah.
glamorous as that sounds, that does nothing for a man internally, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know, i- if to kind of go a little deeper now, my situation, like money wise,
Yeah.
I'll bring in more money to the household.
Mhm.
But let's be honest, I don't work as hard as my wife does. She's an educator in public school
Mm.
system, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
so I get the privilege of being home more. So that
Mm.
means I'm a I got to pick up the slack where she can't have it, right? So
Right.
it's like being the provider in all the ways across all equities.
Right.
I have these opportunities, so I'm going to take them. I'm not just going to do it because I'm not just going to play a typical role. Um, I think the protector piece is a big part that's going away. That really kind of bothers me.
Mm.
The ability to be violent,
Right.
and I think a man that doesn't have the ability to be violent is the worst kind of man out there.
Yeah.
Um, because if it comes to like my people, especially my kids, my family, I mean,
Yeah.
there is no end to the scorched earth violence that I would put for someone.
Yeah.
But if everything's good, if I'm doing my job, we don't need that, right?
Yeah.
The one of my favorite sayings is it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, because I always have the
Mm.
capability of being that true protector, whatever it means, right? If it's physical violence, if it's just protecting my kids from the bullshit that's out in the world,
Yeah.
that's on social media, that's all around all of us. The world is noisier now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Kids have access to more junk than the human race has ever had access to. So
Mm.
part of our protective side is like how do you shield them from that and introduce them to the, because you can't hide it,
Yeah.
right? How do you tactfully introduce them to those things? And so it's all of those things encompassing everything that Tom said. But yeah, it's a hard question to answer in like a
Yeah.
short form. You
You
know
know,
what I mean?
Yeah.
I did say to my wife last night, we were watching the show, and I said, "Does a woman know when she gets with like a frail man? Like, does she know?"
Mm.
Like I see sometimes I see I like if you go online, you see a lot of like uh the what I see is like the husband is dressed as the same as the wife now. They look the
Mm,
same. You know, they got the same clothing on. Like it might just be an all brown outfit. Like they just look the same, you know?
They're going for a look.
You're going for a look and I'm seeing like sometimes I see a frail man making it up with being the fashion or being a chameleon for his wife, but then I'm like, but does she know like if
yeah.
something happens, that guy's getting mowed over. Does she know that?
What do you think?
You know, it's so funny because I was actually going to bring this up while you were talking, Jeri, about this. I have an Instagram crush. And I said to my girlfriend the other day, I was just
Yeah.
like,
What's the dirt?
man, if the apocalypse happens, this guy's not going to be able to sustain anything. Like I'm going to be the one that says to him, go to the fucking forest and find some wood for us to build a fire. Okay. That's your task. Go fucking do it. And like, I just feel like he doesn't have the grit in him to be able to understand what this means. And now I have a very warrior like energy, but I also know when to submit and I want to feel safe in a relationship so a man can provide and step in and be that, as well as have a rock solid wife that he could count on to like move it through. Like if the apocalypse happened, I can count on my wife to be resourceful, to know what to do, to figure out medicinal medicines from the land if we need it, or to
Mhm.
find out how to cultivate food from wherever, right? But we're gonna need this. So I said to literally, I was talking to my friend about it. I'm like, I don't think you could count on him. Like, I don't even think he knows how to shoot a gun. Like, I don't think he would even know how to hunt for food. Maybe he'd figure it out, but like, he's gonna need some training if he wants to be with me, you know? Like,
Yeah.
so,
So there.
but
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead.
no, I have awareness though, but I don't think a lot of females do have awareness to that. That's what I was
And do
gonna
you
answer.
think it's
Yeah.
because the world is too easy right now?
For
Like we
sure.
just go to the store and buy our
Yeah.
meat.
You don't have
Yeah.
to. You can just get it shipped.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like
Yeah.
Tom always talks about, like humans don't have to leave their house anymore.
I
You
know.
can get everything delivered to you,
Yeah.
right? You could work on your computer.
The
You could,
car can get delivered now.
yeah, like
Yeah.
literally everything. So now that piece that women, because 100 years ago,
Yeah.
women or anywhere pre-industrial revolution, which is
Yeah.
about 100 years ago, women did have to have protectors and providers. They
Yeah, for
had
sure.
to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you really don't have to. So now it's just based purely off
Yeah.
of, is it just looks? Is it just a nice personality? He's a nice guy and
Yeah.
he's easy on the eyes and he has a really nice white collar job. Not that there's anything wrong with a white collar job.
No.
Um,
I think that's the conflict of interest is do you
Yeah.
have guys that are emotional chameleons now
mhm,
that made up the
Yeah.
difference in their weakness with
mhm,
how they can talk to women, be the now they can be the emotional support,
yeah,
which
Yeah.
real men are like fucking terrible at. I'm not
yeah,
terrible, but I am speaking for Jerry, but like it's
Yeah.
tough sometimes because you're so like you know, you don't we know not to be problem solvers, but we're hardened to solve problems of the world. So
Of
we,
course. Yeah.
you know, so
yeah,
I
and that,
think those guys make up the difference there.
yeah,
And then we're looking at them like, I would mow that guy over in a second. Like that guy, if something actually happened, like that
Yeah.
guy, and but they maybe they keep their life where it's very safe. You
yeah,
know, they
but
keep a safe life.
you can't that um what's the word I'm looking for? eh, that deficiency doesn't get exposed at
It
all
doesn't. No.
because we don't
Yeah.
have to get firewood, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to hunt. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't tell a whole lot of people this, but like I mean, I'm a big hunter, and
Yeah.
we have not bought grocery store food in at least a decade.
Yeah.
Like the protein that we eat in our house is all the stuff I kill. Like
Yeah.
hunting season here just ended this week.
Yeah.
So like I've been killing animals since September to now.
Yeah.
And like all of and and I'll buy some beef from a friend of mine, but it's not
Yeah.
grocery store meat,
Yeah.
right? So that's how we live. That's
Hmm.
all my kids know. My kids don't know any different.
Yeah.
They know there's meat at the grocery store, but they know daddy doesn't have to go buy it there.
Yeah.
So, but those deficiencies are never exposed. So I
Hmm.
feel like women overlook them, and you tell me if I'm wrong,
No.
but I think it's in all of us. I think a woman deep down in her DNA,
Yeah.
that's there. That's at some point when shit hits the fan, the
Yeah.
apocalypse that happens or whatever, um, that that instinct is going to come out of everybody really quick.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
women are going to be like, "Oh shit, I fucked up."
Yeah.
if they don't see it in little tiny pieces throughout the week, throughout the
And
day.
have soft women now calling us toxic because they
Oh,
realize
gosh.
we're the competition that would squash their weak man. Ah!
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. Well, you know what's so interesting is that I could have been put in a box before 2020 in this like, high maintenance, wore high heels, makeup, and no grounded energy like in life to actually do something like this. And then all this stuff started happening, and the question came through some of the communities I was a part of, like, what if they cut off the electricity? What if we lost, because the whole toilet paper thing up in Canada was intense. You couldn't buy toilet paper places, so people were hoarding toilet paper. And it was like that thing, like, what if they actually do something? So I bought a pressure canner like pot and started to remember when my grandmother used to teach me how to pressure can food. And then I started building gardens, and I'm not a green thumb at all, but I was like, if I ever have to, and then I started stacking stuff. And now I'm single, and this was up in Canada at the time. So my mom was like, Colleen, da da da. I'm like, Mom, firstly, I have a meeting spot with friends. If anything were to go down, that's where we go first. The community will hold and support me. We have all the connections with all the local farmers. I'm a part of like the leadership team for some of this stuff because we put together some key people in the community to be able to hold it. And I go, you go worry about my brother, who is under a guise who has no fucking idea how to do any of this, would be relying on his pizza pops and his pizza and his fucking freezer to feed him. And you go like worry about him. I got all this covered. And it was almost like it came through me. And then I moved to Costa Rica, sold everything, gave all of the canned goods to my girlfriend who had a homestead. And I just said, just take it all. But it was like, that is in me now. And now every time I look around and I see like Costa Rica can hold you, like you could just go up the mountain and find everything that you need to eat. Now, granted, we wouldn't have as much protein unless we have friends that have a cattle farm, which we do. So like, we're creating the same kind of community here if something were to go down. But like, I would have never had that pulse point on it. I was living in the life of go to the gym and I'll meet my girlfriends for drinks and we'll drive to this and that whole thing, and not even ever connecting the dots to this
Which
until
is fine. I
yeah,
like all those things too. I
yeah,
I like I like a nice dinner out. I like going on
yeah,
vacations and doing all those typical things,
yeah,
but I'm still like I still know who I am, right? I'm
yeah.
still very much aware of like, dude, we're a Neanderthal. Like deep
Mhm.
down, we're all cavemen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's inside of you. And you watch how fast domestic animals will turn wild again if
Oh
they were
yeah.
released. Like within days or weeks,
Yeah,
they're back
pigs,
to being
pigs.
wild animals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like that's in us. You can't ignore it. You always talk about leaning into things and not ignoring
Mhm.
signs and whatever. Like don't think for a second that that's not in every single one of us.
Oh, for sure. For
My
sure.
fear is that these people are procreating. That
Mhm.
you've got someone that doesn't act like that now, and someone similar, and then
Yeah.
now they're procreating. They're making children that are just like them.
Yeah.
So is the gap getting wider and wider
Yeah.
and wider?
For sure, dude. You
And
see that
Mhm.
with every look. You
yeah,
see it when I say the park. We go to
Yeah.
park, right? I get there. So at our school where we drop our kids off, there's a park right in front of it.
Yeah.
All right. Me being a great dad, I'm like, oh hell yeah. I'm gonna get my kid to run out there, play before we go to school. Why not? If it's there to do, I will feel guilty not having done it.
Yeah.
So I take them there, and there is probably at some point there's maybe 15 cars parked in that parking lot with their kids inside the car.
Mhm.
They've been there since I've been there
Yeah.
playing with my kid outside. And I could see them all in their phone. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
two things. How lazy are you that you would show up early to
Yeah.
sit in the parking lot when you could just come later and drive? It's a weird laziness. You could just come later, not sit in this parking lot in front of the park. And then, yeah, it's like, what are you showing your kid? And that it's your week. You cannot get around, but you're showing your kid your week. Like, oh, we couldn't go out there.
you don't
It's
want
it's,
to go
it's
outside and
cold.
play.
It's cold. And then
Yeah.
and then what do you think that I'm thinking of you? I'm out there every
Yeah.
day. What do you think if you come up to me with a conversation? Now your baseline is so low. I'm like, well, anything that you say from here will be prejudged because I saw you sitting in your car
Yeah.
with your children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And going back to the creation of this podcast that does give us an advantage is Jeri and I both have dead dads. So anytime I look at something where there's an experience I can have with my son, because who the hell knows life is short, I go ahead and take it. And so I'm just staring at those people like, "What, you gonna live forever? You gonna keep your kid trapped in the fucking car and probably complain that he was shitty in the car later?" You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
And even if you do live forever, you have a great life and all that, your kid ain't. I mean, you have
You get this little moment before they get out of high school.
you
That's it.
you have 1 year with a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and then that 5-year-old's gone forever. You have
Yeah.
1 year with a 6-year-old, and then it's never coming back. And I say that every year on like my kid's birthday. It's like, you know, I love my 9-year-old, but now I have a 10-year-old daughter. The 9-year-old will never come back now, and it makes you conscious of like going through that year and moving through, and you know, like and all navigating, because it's parenting is never the same.
Oh my God, I
It's
can
never like,
imagine.
oh yeah, I'm a parent. I figured it out at 3 years old and I'm cool now. It's like, no, I've never had an 11-year-old. So uh what the fuck's 11-year-old gonna bring? I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think if those people are sitting there willing, like you could go out in the world, you don't have to assume that it's weak. You can just watch it be weak. You can just go out and watch. Like when I go to I don't buy meat at the grocery store, but I do get like I'm on a now I'm everything organic. Now I'm trying to go,
Local.
yeah, everything local. So even when I'm in that shop, any local store that will still sell a bunch of bullshit. And like I just look at everyone's cart and I'm like, damn, like
Oh yeah.
no wonder why you feel like shit. I'm like, look at all this. So like, I look at all the frozen. I'm proud that I stopped feeding, making any of the frozen. Like when he was younger, we did like we get the chicken nuggets. I don't even do that shit no more. I mean, I'm walking. If you look at my cart, you'd have to make the shit. If you come to my house, you know what I mean. Like you're not gonna be like, yeah, let me get
Hop in the
shit. And we don't have the microwave in there. It's fucking in here. It's like you have to make the food. So I stare. I'm like every little decisions. You just see how weak people are being.
Oh yeah.
And how much they're unconscious of how much. Well, I always say like they're stuck in that matrix. Like you gotta get out of that. Like you gotta open up your eyes and see what the hell is actually happening to you right around you.
I wonder now, like, what are you regretting asking us these questions? And now you're like, man, I set
No.
or path.
No, I'm in the exact same lane as you guys, so like everything, like literally I go pick up my market order from here and it's all local farms and everything's organic. And like I get it from like my meat is from a grass-fed beef farm that does everything. We eat organ meats here, like we get broth from them and tallow and like all the stuff in North America that you're like, what is beef tallow? Like, I never even heard of that, like where you guys obviously would as hunters and as in the landscape that you guys live within. But some of us up, in North America have no clue about what this actually really means. And I've always been an organic girl, but like, yeah, it's like,
Wait, it's a different, there's a difference, right?
oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
if you have a real organic diet,
Yeah.
there's 100% difference than these giant commercial factory farms where these things come from, protein and vegetables. I haven't gotten to the garden thing yet. I need to do that. I need to start a garden. I need to start canning.
Yeah, we got the greenhouse. I'm gonna pump out this year. You know what I mean? And start growing. It's fun to grow. There's a little things that it'll trigger something in you. Like just do a little bit more so that you can practice and a little craft, and that'll help you say yes to something later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that philosophy. Love it. So what do you guys like? I think this is a conversation. I've seen some posts happen up in Canada right now where one of the provinces, the woman leading the province, I can't even remember politics names, so I'm like, whatever. She's in charge of the province of Alberta, and she's putting in a bill now that if teachers hear from children that they're changing their name or their genders, they have to actually contact the parents, because this is like a thing actually in Canada. They don't have to right now, but in Alberta they have to, and that they can't get any kind of medical procedures done until the age of 18 years old. And she's making it a bill in Alberta, which is a huge movement for that one province, because a lot of Canada is dark. If you guys have been watching some shit go down. So what are you guys seeing where you live in your communities with the parents you hang out with and stuff? Like what's happening with the kids right now in your worlds? We mentioned it a little bit about the phones and stuff, but I just love to just open this up, because I think, being a dude dad and being a masculine and being the provider and really holding that and having beautiful experiences with your wife who floats within her like feminine and holds like the nurturing energy in your family. Like what are we seeing in the world?
So both of our wives are teachers.
Hmm.
My
Interesting.
wife's
So
a high
cool.
school teacher.
Yeah.
Was Candace teach fifth grade,
6th grade.
sixth grade, intermediate.
Yeah.
So we hear all of the
Mm-hmm.
things, right?
Mm-hmm.
The kids that show up in pajamas and with blankets, and the kids that just want to lay on the floor, or and then the other good stuff too. And then we both have friends all throughout the district.
Yeah.
So we hear it, but personally, like
Yeah.
we don't roll with those type of people. I mean, there ain't no
Oh, for
like
sure. Yeah.
the whole gender thing, like that. It's I'm sure it's around. Like my wife has kids that'll come up to her and say like, "Hey, this is my name now," and like she has to just go along with it.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the common thing with all the kids, mostly,
Yeah.
not all, is like laziness and account. There's
Mm.
like
Yeah, so
no accountability.
here
Yeah.
they have what's called an IEP,
Mm.
and pretty much you watch every parent take advantage of the system. They go, okay,
Mm.
if I say my kid has ADHD or whatever, it's any
Mm.
the IEP now can be any kind,
Anxiety.
yeah, it could be anything. So
Mm.
you see them make sure the kid gets listed with that so that they got some leeway essentially to be lazy because the parent's lazy. All right.
Yeah.
So now you've given your kid a way out, which when I was a kid, if you were going to give me a way out in school, I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know firsthand. And now there is absolutely no accountability. So in this school district, they have a policy where essentially there is a code of conduct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very tough because it's teaching tough because if you really care, you can't care. You could probably get in
Yeah.
trouble for caring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a code of conduct says we're going to do this, but that's not going to happen. So when a kid does this, we're going to put him right. We're going to just talk to him and put him right back in, and that's going to be the
Mm.
end of it.
Restorative
Yeah.
practices.
Restorative practice, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Look, I understand. I think so. Let me talk on this subject for. And I got another one.
Yeah. You're good. Keep it coming.
You you can make anything work if
Yeah.
you're able to work it.
Yes.
You can't just to think that you're going to be able to talk to a kid for 5 minutes and then go about your day because all those guys are busy. All the superintendents are all busy. The principal, they're all busy. How are you going to control that many kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you, how you have to be just like a teacher. I mean, a lot of teachers are probably they were born. I have so many people I know are teachers. They were boring people in life. They're
Yeah.
not that exuberant. So if you're going to teach, well, that's probably pretty boring. So your kids probably don't like you. And that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Right. So how could you take? I could see restorative practice. You want to talk? You want to give a second? I'm from sports. You get second and third chances all the time
Yeah.
if you got something good in you.
Yeah.
If you see something, right? So yeah, you want to give this kid a chance before he fucks it up permanently. You want to get him along. That's the goal of this community.
Yeah,
So
the
Yeah.
intention is good.
yeah, so you can
Yeah.
figure it out. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But you have to be that person talking to the kid has to be a dude or has to be
Yeah.
a woman that has been through it herself, can
Right.
speak from somewhere of experience and have that real time, real talk, and then check back up with it. And
Yeah.
if it happens again, well then fuck now you're about to learn the other side of
Yeah, you
that
gotta get
fucking
Yeah.
lesson, which you
exposed.
fucked up. You took the trust out of me. Now
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah.
But it could, dude, it's just a revolving door, and you can't because we can get sued.
Yeah.
Dude, the
Oh
school gets
yeah.
sued a ton, which is weird
It's
because they have a
crazy.
student union or a teacher union that doesn't work like a union I know. I mean, I
Yeah.
thought unions were more of a mafia based, like, hey,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
ain't doing
Yeah.
that. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't do anything. So they're scared to get sued as
Mm.
well.
Wow.
So the teachers are scared to, really press the issue. The
Yeah.
principals are even more scared because if it makes it to a judge, that judge from the state, all that, they already have their go ahead. We don't want to get
Mm.
sued. Give them whatever they want. And all that. So now there was actually, so my wife at some points would actually get filmed and like people bring in cameras and make sure whatever she was saying because they would if you missed one little thing they could actually sue the school if the kid had an IEP, right?
Yeah.
So there was actually
Wow.
a
Oh
guy
my
going around
God. Really?
training people how to sue the school. how to get
Wow.
money, right?
Wow.
So yeah, I know that part is
Isn't it crazy how that stuff can change in a generation? Like
It's so crazy.
it's
Yeah.
what we doing?
my
What
yeah,
we doing?
but like what Tom just said, it comes down to accountability
Yeah.
and like owning something, right? And not having
Yeah.
excuse. It's okay to not be perfect and not get great grades. Let's just work, right? Let's just work
Yeah.
towards it. And I go in deeper with it. And this my wife and I don't see eye to eye on everything.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think the whole educational system needs to be completely revamped because
Totally agree.
we're
Yeah.
we all know that the educational system, the bells, the periods, and all this stuff was developed in the Industrial Revolution to train people to work.
Yeah.
Right, you're going to work from
It's a
9 to 5.
Yeah.
You wait for the lunch whistle and you move. Right, they were it was for factory workers, and
Yeah.
that's not today. That's not what these kids are
No.
doing. So their attention spans are different and all of
Yeah.
these things. So like I think the whole thing needs to be restructured.
Yeah.
And I think it'll eventually happen, but there's going to have to be a massive collapse. Like there's
This
going to have
has
to
to be a
be
big non-participation.
a huge exodus
People
of
Yeah.
just
procedures.
yeah.
Like
Now going to the other side of the genders, I just think the whole thing went too fast, and
Yeah.
you got a lot of
Yeah.
it got weird too quick. You know what I mean?
I
Like it's like
agree.
what the fuck are we doing, right? So
Yeah.
it matched the level of what the fuck are we doing just teaching. Now we got the
Yeah.
gender thing. What the fuck are we doing? No one knows what's
Yeah.
happening, right? So it's for me. It was very cool to see, like, so when I was in school, you knew who was gay, right?
Yeah.
And so you knew it was gay. They didn't say they were gay, right?
Yeah.
That's such a short period too. I mean, that's from when I was in high school in 2000 to 2004.
Yeah.
Nobody would say they were gay. You
Yeah.
knew it was gay. No big
Yeah.
deal. No
Yeah.
one cares.
No one cares.
Uh, then fast forward to now you have kids that are walking down the hallways, they're openly gay. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, I can't imagine what it was like for the people I went to school with who were very like scared to get ostracized to come out and be gay. Because when I used to work at a gay bar for 3 years, I used to
Yeah.
talk to those guys all the time about like what was that pressure like, to just tell
Mm.
your dad, tell because and
Yeah.
just to come out, and which is crazy because the most part, like those people were scared back. I think to those people back then, I'm like, man, you could just came out. I'd have been like, yeah, we never gay. All right, let's go. See you. No one cares.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but now it's out, which is great. And then like we
Yeah.
didn't even get to experience and live that. Now it's like, well, let's get fucking weirder with it.
Yeah. I know,
Let's keep
like,
fucking going. Like, what are we now? So now, as I say, you got a lot of bad salesmen
yeah.
fucking up what the good thing that was happening with which kids that were just gay who come out. They don't have to have that awkward, crazy pressure on them. They can be
Yeah.
themselves. And then I think they. I think that group needs to understand that people are fucking weird. All
Yeah.
right, not them.
Yeah.
People. They need to
Yeah.
like to think that like if you came out to me in high school and said, "Yeah, man, I'm gay," I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm still gonna throw this football to you. I don't give a fuck. Do
Yeah.
your thing." But other people would be like, "Whoa, man, he's gay." Like what? Like I'm like, "Oh, you're such a fucking weirdo." People are weird. There's like
Yeah. Oh
you're
yeah.
always combating the weird people who have crazy weird insecurities. They are
Yes.
always fucking it up for the minorities always fucking it up for the major, right?
that's what
Yeah.
So
happens.
we didn't even get a chance to kind of let the weirdos that can't control themselves get used to that, right?
Yeah.
So
I
Yep.
we went,
never looked at it like
you know
that.
what I mean? Yeah. So then
Yeah.
we went so
Yeah.
fast that they're like, it's still going. What the fuck? I
Yeah.
can't control it. Yeah. So they got too weird, too fucking fast. We didn't let those assholes catch up to speed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the fuck I'm at? You know what I mean? How's
That's
your
what
day going?
that's
It is so funny. I'm in the position of like, I used to have a client of mine who was transgender and literally moving through that transition when we were coaching together like 10 years ago. And I'm in the position of like, you make a decision for your life. It's your decision for your life and that's yours. And you own it, be it all in and do your thing with it. My concern though is all of the mechanism running through the school systems and these children who, like I saw a post yesterday. Let's just let like the child knows what tattoos that they want so they can just tattoo their own body at any age whatever they want to do. And there was a post about like this kid that had all these tattoos over there and like a Superman on his chest and everything, just to make the point of like children shouldn't be deciding
Yeah.
medical procedures of their genders when they don't even know who they even are.
yeah.
So it's just,
my brother did that for me. He would not tattoo me for several years. He's like,
yeah.
"You're gonna get something fucking stupid. I ain't doing it." He's like, "Get older." And he did. He
Yeah.
made me wait. He's like,
Yeah.
"I don't want you to fucking have some tribal fucking bar wire around your bicep."
I remember begging my mom to let me get this tattoo, right? And it
Yeah.
was this like stupid cartoon Viking.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I want to
Here's
get
the
it.
white
I
trash.
want to go get it. And she's like, no, no, no.
Fucking love
And she
you.
kept saying like the typical parent response, like, you're going to regret that. You're going to regret that. You don't know what you want yet. And, you know, I'm whatever, 15, 6 years old. I'm like, no, I know. I'm going to love this forever. I'm so glad I didn't do that. I'm
Yeah.
so glad. And I got tattoos. My whole chest is done. My
Yeah.
arm's done. This arm's done. I'm so glad I didn't get that stupid fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
So glad. Even not my first tattoo, my second tattoo that I got when I was probably 19.
Yeah.
So that would be in 2000, 99, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
The typical tribal band around your
Mhm.
bicep. I remember when
Yeah.
that was
I
big, the
remember when
tribal
that
He
was
band.
was
big.
getting the whole
Yeah.
shoulder down the arm, like,
And guess
Yeah.
what I did? I covered it up.
Covered it
I
up.
got
Yeah.
this whole thing. I'm like, I got to cover this stupid ass thing up. And I got
Yeah.
this whole other thing done just to get rid of that. So even when I was adult, I made a
Yeah.
dumb decision. So
Yeah.
I regret it. Like, that was kind of stupid. But
yeah. What is the point of having these kids figure out a definite answer on something that's what's the
I don't
rush?
know.
What
I
is
think
the rush?
here's like the overall, I think, objective is if I can create more confusion in the world, then people can be confused and then they're more pliable for
mhm.
what they
Sure.
want them to do. That's
You're
really what it
you're
is.
100% right. There's no
Yeah.
logical person that agrees
Mhm.
with that a
Yeah.
kid can make huge life altering decisions. And it's the reason why you can't drink till you're 21. There's the reason
Yeah.
why you can't get behind the wheel until you're 16.
Yeah.
Which I even feel like nowadays 16 is too young. Like I look at these 16-year-olds now, like how are you responsible for a 2-ton hunk of metal at
Yeah.
highway speeds? Like that scares the shit out of me for my kids.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
all these things, so it's certainly, the gender thing and the people that say their 3-year-old are like, there's no way.
I know.
I mean,
Their
there's
parents scare me. I see their parents. I'm like, what the fuck's your kid gonna be like around my kid?
yeah, but
Oh, for
here's
sure.
the thing I tell, and I don't get too wrapped up in. I have my own opinions and I'm passionate about it to a point,
Yeah.
but that's not my world, right?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
aren't my kids. I stay in my lane, and I
Yeah.
know the only way I can change the world is by
Yeah.
raising my kids. That's the
Yeah.
only way I can change. I can't change your mind,
Mhm.
so I stay hyper focused on that, and I'll try to not get frustrated with the shit I don't agree with. And
That's
and honestly, I really don't care what people do. I don't
that's
care.
that's part of being a man. And
Mhm.
one part of being a man is, being able to be that warrior, but also when you can just avoid danger.
Mhm.
Don't fuck around and win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than most guys I meet.
Yeah.
I've been physical. And not to say like, yeah, I'm like, I just have, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have an ability, like, you know what I mean?
But you
I
don't
can
go
make some
look.
shit happen.
You don't
I
go
don't
looking
fucking look
for it.
for that.
No.
A skinny guy can stab me to death. A
Yeah.
guy can shoot me. I don't go fucking looking for shit. And I stay, if you get crazy, I'm the number one. I'll fly right away. I'm like, and see ya. I like to
Yeah.
live tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so many guys that aren't real men yet still move with that big ego.
Mhm.
As you get older, you gotta remove that ego. You can have your confidence and your swagger when you need it, but the ego that
Yeah.
like, no, fuck that, no, fuck that. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
as a man, you have to be able to avoid danger, keep your family out of danger. Like we talked with what's his name? I go into rooms of parties and I look around, I say, all right, who looks like a weirdo in here? Because my kid's running around. Who looks like a fucking weirdo in this place? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like simple stuff like that. I look for danger first.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
stay in your
I
lane. We
stay the
don't.
fuck in my lane.
Yeah. We don't
I
worry about.
certainly, yeah, like
Yeah.
I can remember one time we were going fishing and it was like 4 a.m. and went with Nick and Todd and Nick went in there and first off I went in there and bought cold food. I'm like, it's fucking Royal Farms. Ain't nothing cool happening in here. I
Mhm.
got my food so I can get it, go. He went in there, ordered like fried chicken, right? It
Mm.
took forever. Had a bad experience with the lady, right? Comes in the car and then like I was just busting his balls, but he's like, what would you have done? I'm like, I wouldn't be mad at all about it. I don't go into stupid places and get mad when stupid shit happens. Like, what the fuck were
Yeah.
you thinking? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, just think about where you're at. That's why I went and got the cold shit and got the fuck out, because I know we're in a rural farm. What the fuck do I expect from this place? Like online, dude, our town loves to go on and complain about fast food places. Where
Oh
the
yeah.
fuck is your mind at? You went to a fast food joint. What did you think was going
Yeah.
to happen?
Yeah.
How would you be surprised that the 12-year-old behind the cook who they don't give a fuck? What the
Yeah.
fuck would you
Yeah.
think it? Then you were like, I need to go online and complain. Now you're what the fuck human is that? What are you
Yeah.
You got
thinking?
Tom fired up now, boy.
Yeah, that's
Don't
good.
go
No,
to
I
stupid
love it.
places and expect and great things to happen.
Yeah.
Like I don't even for myself right now, I don't even like going out anymore because you know why? No one cares when you go out.
I
It's
know.
it's like when my wife and I go on dates now, we do not I don't take her out on dinners. Like one
Yeah.
of our first dates that we went on, we went shopping for the house. I said, she was like, what do you want to do now? You want to go out to eat? And so I was like, no, because like that shit'll take an hour. You know what I mean? Like they'll take 2 hours. We only have so much time. I said, why don't we do things that we like to do if the kids weren't here? We could actually get it done. She's
Yeah.
like, I like that. I was like, let's go to the mall and let's go. We have a huge mall up in uh uh fucking Newark,
Christian
Christiana Mall, and it has like
Mm.
every big plaza thing around it too. I was like, let's go to the home goods store. It's like where you could actually stare at something and then just keep staring at it and then don't have to go change your phone. Like, let's go have that kind of date night for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because
This is a great
when,
idea.
when you go out, what do you get? Hi, I'll be your server. What do you guys want? That's cool. I'm gonna go get it, and then you guys can wait for it.
Yeah.
So that's great. And then it'll cost at least $100. And then
Yeah.
really magical. Also, you can enjoy our guest there. This guy will be on his phone with his wife. You can stare at that. Then this guy might be sneezing on his shit later. It's not much magic. I know there's not an owner going around pepping up the place. It looks like a thing, but it's not. But you can get the US food, the thing that you could have just made at your house. We'll fucking throw it, slam it in the microwave for you and give it to you.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
what you
Dunkin'
doing
and
here?
seed
Fuck this
oils.
place. No one
I know.
cares. Like,
Yeah.
Tom's got my rate up now.
come on.
I love it. But it's so true. And it is true. And most people are just like I call it Lemmingville, walking around in Lemmingville, and then they expect things to change or they expect stuff to happen. Like I've learned so much about life living here in Costa Rica because it's pura vida. That's what they call it, pure life. And it actually means pure life. So when
Pura
you go out
vida.
for dinner, it's an
We'll call it
experience.
ours.
Like you go out for hours, like it's just an experience, but you're part of a community that's out
Yeah.
experiencing the food and connecting in deeper. And it's just, yeah, it's totally different than what it is.
All
in
these things you've been talking about Costa Rica
Yeah.
the last, we're going on spending a couple hours together.
Yeah.
I've got to
How much is land?
I've got
How
to
much
get
is
there.
fucking land? Where's some houses at? You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
What would like $100,000 buy you there?
Well, you could definitely get a good piece of land with like a good couple hectares of land. And depending
No
on what you
house.
wanted to build without a house, well, you could probably buy a house for that further up the mountain. But then
Okay.
you get into a little bit more challenges with just services and everything, construction, being able to change it, renovate it.
Right.
But for about 150K, you could probably buy a container home on a property that's pretty big. And like actually container homes are really big here.
Really?
Yeah,
Like
because you don't,
legit, like the Connex boxes,
yeah, yeah,
shipping containers.
yeah, yeah,
I freaking love it.
yeah.
Will it
So
be
they're,
just one or like several of them?
well, one for about 150, but you could stack a couple together and then make an actual like double
Yeah.
level, or there's some really cool designs here. And one of my friend's sons, who's in his early 20s, he used to work for a construction company, started a business, and he's got 3 jobs right now designing container homes that he's going to actually build for these people now. And he's starting a whole business here just doing container home builds, which is really, really cool. Yeah.
No.
That is, I do love that. How
Yeah.
how is the short-term rental business there? Like Airbnbs, VRBOs, stuff like that.
Everything is that way. So if people buy
Really?
homes here, like most, and if you get a good like rental property company that will manage it for you, you can just make money and don't even have to live here,
This
and
is
they'll
what I
take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just a couple of white guys going to gentrify an area. Let's go fuck it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
how tall can we get the high rises there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we kick the locals out? You know what I mean? What
No.
can we do to this place? You know
No,
what I
no,
mean?
no, no. I mean,
This is
but
how it starts. You know what I mean?
No, but it would be
150K, you get to meet the locals, okay? And then in 10 years, they should all be gone. We'll get the high rises up, the beach, well, that'll be private, so you need to pick your condo over here, okay?
Yeah.
We'll get all the fat people on the fucking Carnival cruise. They'll be coming out of this area, okay? So if you want to take a cruise too, you can eat all your fat ass food. You know what I mean? So
I
then we'll move to the next island where we'll ruin that one slowly, okay? So that's the thing.
the people down there won't let that happen, will they?
No.
Yeah, there's no
No.
way.
So they're
That's what happened in
protesting
fucking Burma.
an airport. Yeah, they're protesting an airport that they're trying to put in the south. Like I'm 3.5 hours from the airport now, and I'm 2 hours to Panama. So it's only a 5.5 hour span, kind of all the way up the coast. And they want to put an airport closer to Panama, and the locals are going, we don't want this. And they started to build it already, but they're like, this is such like native land here, you know, and it feeds an ecosystem, and like people can live off the land. Like it's like a thing. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll
I
see.
visited my brother in Burma before it all went to hell. That's like
Yeah.
the fight they had. The coup took over. They tried a democracy. There was some fraud in the election. They're like, now we're good. And then they don't play.
Yeah,
They're
no,
like, that's
Yeah.
cool. So we're gonna start shooting everyone. We're gonna launch grenades. All the little militias were like, man, we're taking this shit back over. And I was there. Matt was like, he was like, yeah, those like see that building right there? They burnt that down. He was like, it's not
Yeah.
like America. Like if you try to come in and put that high rise, I'm like, yeah, cool. You should build it, spend all your money on, it, and then we'll burn it down as soon as you're done.
Yeah.
They will. That was a thing. They
Yeah.
will.
I and to for the majority, I kind of respect that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I like that the pushback isn't just taking pictures and complaining. It's action, right?
Oh, it's
Is it the right
action.
way or wrong way? I don't know, but
Yeah.
I know
It's
in a lot of
probably
instances, violence is the answer. You
Yeah.
know, and like kind of going back to what we were talking about, earlier, it's like there's a time and place for it, and I think it's okay. And Tom always says you have your line in the sand, and if you cross that line, then
Yeah.
the consequence. You live by a if this then that, and
Yeah.
here's our standard, right? And I feel like North America and Europe are the countries that have lost that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I agree.
who knows? And that's where
Oh,
we came from. We stole a bunch of land from natives. That's
I
where
know, right? Well, and that's
you
the whole
Murked them.
thing.
Just murked them.
yeah. And
You know what I mean?
I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I live in a great country, the greatest
Mhm.
country.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. So how do we exist? It was because we stole a bunch of land from a bunch of natives.
Dude,
Wow.
so we have a name. So
Mhm.
at the beach right here,
Yeah.
we have old towers from World War II where we would look out for U-boats trying to sink our boats.
Yep.
So they opened up one of the new tunnels where they had all the missiles and they have a huge gun. And one of the pictures was a war general and on there, like reading, it's like, oh, and he defeated the Indians. I'm like, what fucking lie is this? We didn't defeat
Yeah.
them. Bitches, they weren't trying to fight. We
No.
didn't defeat it. I'm like, bitch, we came here and murked everybody. I'm like, we mean defeated. That's no.
Oh
So
my
just put
gosh.
that little
Yeah.
shit right there. I'm like the only dude, like, you see that shit?
Yeah.
Defeated. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
acting
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, we had to go up against them. They because we didn't try to take them.
Mm.
We took their land.
Well, you know what? This is a kind of off the subject.
Okay, go ahead.
You
Then.
might kind of appreciate this.
Yeah.
Don't
So
be
we were
pointing fingers,
on
dude. All right.
we were on the Josh Terry show last week. Josh
Yeah.
Terry's he's a huge podcaster. Check it out if you want to. He's an awesome guy. We got into the conversation of mushrooms and microdosing
Yeah.
psychedelics.
Yep.
He recommended I watch this Netflix special, How to
Yeah.
Change Your Mind.
Yep.
And I just finished it last night.
Okay.
It's incredible. One of the last episodes of it was about this cactus or some plant that the Indians, the Native Americans, have used for centuries, right?
Yeah.
And then
Peyote. Is it peyote?
that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember the
You
name.
just learned about
Yeah.
peyote now?
Yeah.
I swear to goodness,
Yeah.
dude.
So, but
Fucking
it
God.
was fascinating about how like then these, the government trying to take it away from them kind of thing. You can't use it. And
Yeah.
then when was it? In 2015, they passed the with this basically this movement decriminalize nature or something like that. Is this organization?
Decriminalize nature.
Yeah,
I like that term.
It's just basically like
It's very organic.
and we're not saying we're not making it legal or illegal, just decriminalize. This is a low priority that a plant or a cactus or a mushroom is going to grow and use for medicinal purposes.
Yep.
We're not arresting people with Schedule 1 substances for having a fucking mushroom, you know?
Yeah.
And they won, which is, I mean, fantastic. But
Amazing.
that whole episode, if you sound like you saw it, that talked about
No.
it honed in on the Native Americans, these tribes that have used this. And this apparently the peyote like takes 15 years to grow.
Dude, when you were watching
Wow.
Talladega Nights and he says, I was high on peyote, you didn't fucking get that line?
Never.
What the fuck?
No.
It's like, first or last, man, you can be second, hell, you can be third. I was high on peyote.
Nope.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, man. See the
It's
shit I gotta
funny.
deal with.
But
You know what I mean?
But anyway, now I'm
Yeah.
hooked up with a source from Canada. And
Yeah.
Okay.
now I'm going to order some psilocybin and
Yeah.
see where it takes me.
Yeah,
You
that's
need to
amazing.
find On the show one time to see how it goes.
We
We'll
can-
do it with me.
We can record it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I will do it. You know what I mean?
Well, it depends on how many, like what you take. So there's the microdosing side, and then there's the actual like psilocybin here is mostly used in ceremonies. So I actually have a ceremony booked in a couple weeks with a girlfriend. It's just the two of us with a facilitator for psilocybin, and she's considering doing a hero's journey, which is 8 grams. So it takes you like way out. And I've only done it recreationally before. I've never done it actually in ceremony. So it's going to be cool to see what this brings up, what happens, and everything.
So
Try to
you've
lift
done it.
off.
You've done it recreationally.
Mhm.
How did you have a milligram or anything
No,
like that?
I don't
Just
even
like
know. Like it was just, I think like a gram or something like that. So I'm going to be doing 4 in this
4
ceremony.
grams?
4 grams. Yeah.
Hey, what you want to do the podcast that day?
Yeah, you're right. I won't even be in my body. Like I wouldn't
So
even
what?
be.
So when you've done it before,
Yeah.
that obviously that was not a microdose.
No.
Tell me about your experience.
Like this is like a dose that you like you don't drive, like we're staying on the property that night, like you go through like an out of body experience, like you're floating in the ethers and you're having conversations with different parts of yourself and like going into the depths. Like a lot of the like ayahuasca and psilocybin, they use it a lot for healing because you can actually go right to the root, the problem, the challenge, the thing that happened, and actually move energy. That's why they say a lot of addicts move through addiction with ayahuasca because of the fact that they actually go to the problem. So it's just so interesting, like everything, like depending on your intention and what you're dropping into. Mine is for like deeper rooted connection within and just to find out like what needs to clear, what do I need to move within for that, you know? So yeah,
So
it's
do
cool.
you have to have that conversation with yourself prior to, so you go into it knowing your mission?
You set the intention before for all of them. Yeah. And then you drop
Really?
in and then you're taken on a journey. Yeah. It's like you connect, like they call it like grandmother ayahuasca for a reason. It's like you don't just go into ceremony to go ceremony. Some people do, and they're addicted to the ceremonies and all that stuff, which we could lean into that side of it as well. But it's like there's an intention calling me forward to discover something through these ceremonies. And I just trust the timing of it all. And peyote's dropped into my field a few times lately, and I'm curious about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So what is your intention on the ceremony that you have coming up?
Yeah, just to go deeper into my self connection, better understanding of who I am and what I need to be doing on this earth and tapping into that.
So when you're in that, what do you physically remember? Like, are
Everything.
you seeing like walls moving, melting?
Everything. Yeah, all of it. Like you could be floating above your body, looking at your body, and then you go out to outer space and go on a journey. Like everybody's
Like
experience.
literally go to
Yeah.
outer space.
Yeah,
You,
literally, like you
you
literally
zoom out of
leave.
Earth and it gets dark and the stars and
Yeah,
you're
I
floating
gotta watch you
around.
do that.
is it scary? Like, do you have fear when you're in this?
No, well, like if you surrender like to the experience, you've chosen to be there, then you just trust in the experience. That's why you have someone holding space for you. So the woman who's doing the ceremony for us will play music and sing and have her drum, and we're gone for hours. Like we're at, like imagine, 4 grams, 8 grams, you're gone for a while. Like so Yeah, I can give you some synopsis when I get back.
Please,
Yeah,
please do.
yeah,
Like,
I totally would.
write it to me, jump on a
Yeah,
call with me. I'm
we'll
not ready
voice
for
note it to you.
that. I'm super
Okay.
interested in the microdosing
Yeah,
and just feeling how that is. The out of body stuff. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of scares me a little bit. Like,
yeah.
what if? Because
Mhm.
what's it like coming back? Is it just like and you're just done?
Well, in ayahuasca too, like I couldn't move. Like I couldn't, like I was conscious, but my body couldn't move. Like you're in an experience that it's hard to even have motor skills, right? And so I was just laying down fetal position, trying to breathe into my body. And then she kept dropping in all these messages. And at one point she's like, you need to get up. And I was like, I can't even fucking walk because they were doing drumming and music and stuff in the circle. But I just got up, grounded in, just took a few steps. Then I got to the dance floor, like where they were dancing, and I just started to like move like this, just to try and get my body to move. And then after, I don't know how long, because we were in ceremony from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. Like they do it at night for ayahuasca.
Holy cow!
Somewhere along the way, I was able to start to move. And then I dropped into the music and then I could feel the energy moving through my body. But this whole thing is like a trippy experience, but not like it's like you're getting depthful answers into who you are. It's actually something that you can't consciously go to most of the time because we have so many blockers that are
So when
blocking
you were
us.
deep in it, like in
Yeah.
peak, like a whole nother realm, your
Yeah.
physical body was just laying down,
Yeah. Yeah. But my
and
mind,
you
I'm conscious, I'm thinking everything consciously is there. It's the body that's like,
did you
yeah,
know you were laying down? Like, were you in it going like, okay, cool, I'm just laying in a fetal position on the ground
yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
but your mind is still is it like a dream?
Yeah, well, kind of like she talked to me, like I kept getting these visions of stuff, and like I kept seeing like you're such a selfish bitch. This is what I kept hearing in my mind. And then I would see all these scenes in my mind of when I was a selfish bitch. And I was like, oh my fucking God, I can't believe that this is who I am. And like I'm like it's like a multi-personality almost conversation that you're having within
Oh,
yourself. Yeah.
Did you have to throw up a lot?
I didn't, it wouldn't come out. I tried.
Right.
I
Yeah.
tried like
are you
so
supposed
much.
to?
No,
Didn't you?
like you don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. But in my, I was like, I gotta get this shit
There's a
out
lot
of
of drugs
me.
that make you throw up beforehand.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, throw up before.
Throw up or after, yeah. I've seen a lot of especially when they're doing a toad, a lot of throw up.
Yeah.
They get in the river. They get in the river in that one, dude. They get smaller. Your what do you call the guy? The shaman. The
Shaman,
shaman.
shaman. Yeah.
They're holding you in the river just while you're having that experience. Woo! That's probably
There's all
crazy.
It,
different kinds. Cambo too
That's the one thing you
is
got to
an
make sure there's someone
actual
there
thing.
in case you start throwing up on yourself, and you know what I mean.
it's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
The
Yeah, I'm
whole
not quite
thing.
ready for that yet. But no,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
these psilocybin
Hmm.
capsules, they're 250 milligrams a
Oh,
piece.
perfect. That's great. Yeah.
So it was recommended to start with 500,
Okay.
and then that's not even enough to send you to another world. Like, that's not
No,
enough to have you like hallucinate.
no.
Um, but from my understanding, you get the good effects from it.
Hmm.
I guess it only, what they say, it only lasts like an hour-ish, something like that.
Depends on
Um,
the person. Yeah.
yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I'll let you know how mine goes. You let me know
Yeah.
how yours goes.
Okay. Yeah, it's happening in 2 weeks actually. So I'll let you know for sure. I'll give
Gosh,
you
that's
the
exciting,
details. I know
man.
that we could like chat forever. Like I know we could. And I know we're probably gonna do this again.
Yeah,
Because I feel like I want to, like
yeah.
down the
Sorry, we're
road, seeing
rambling.
what you guys are on. No, this is exactly how I love to like interview and be in connection with people. But like
Good.
what would you like to say just to kind of close it off? I just want to make sure I hold space for you guys. Like what's on your hearts to say into humanity right now?
Shoo, good. I've been talking a lot.
What I want to say to humanity,
Mhm.
face your fears. You
Love
know what I
it.
mean? Stop that. You want to talk about, trying to find yourself. That's how the fuck it happens. Is you gotta stop making excuses and go face your fears and fail at shit. You know what I mean? That's the only way you're gonna figure out who you are. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I that's the the first things that come to mind is funny because you and I had made comments on social media with this, is like the facing your fears part ties into that freedom piece that like Sean was
Mhm.
talking to a couple weeks ago, which is
Yeah.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you truly free? Which is the tensions, like, do you give a shit what other people think? Like, if you do, you're not truly free, right?
Yeah.
And like chasing that freedom, and it's
Yeah.
not the freedom of like having the money to do what you want, but the
Mhm.
freedom of like the burden or the conscious, you don't shrink yourself down,
Mhm.
right? And it was for, I don't know, for me, maybe not for you.
It took me years to know that you humans had this problem.
Yeah.
When I first learned that, I was like, you care what other people think? I'm like, who the fuck? I was like, then I learned like, oh, most of you guys care what people
Well,
think. I'm like, the fuck?
well, there's a little,
Why?
there's like a
How does that
little,
ever start? Why would
whenever,
you ever care what the other idiot? Who the fuck? This fucking idiot? The guy that's sitting in the car with his kids? Or when I was a kid, the other, I don't know. It took me years to figure out that people gave a fuck what other people think.
I think it's too when you're doing something new, like with the
Mm.
podcast. There's
No,
there's
there's
a,
not.
but I'm not saying I didn't have the fear, but you have to like, there's something in you that goes like, you sure about that? I'm like, why is that even coming up?
That's
Because
what I gravitate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really care. Why
the,
is that even coming up?
the world has already shown you. If you do the things that are weird, that are uncomfortable, you will
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's just
Yeah.
I mean it's kind of easy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the thing. Oh, you don't really want to do that thing. It seems real tough. That's probably a thing you should do. It'll probably change your life. So
Yeah, it is that the big thing for me. I've not gotten that off my mind is,
Mm.
we're here to help.
are you
We're
really
here.
are you really
Yeah.
are you really free, right? Are you a true free human being?
Yeah.
Don't worry about anybody else beside yourself. My
Yeah.
dad said that to me my entire life, and it took me a long time to realize it. My dad would
Mm.
always say, worry about yourself and no one else. Worry about
Yeah.
yourself and no one else. And initially, when I remember when I was a kid, thinking like, he means like not care about people,
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
care about my friends. Like, no, he means don't worry about what someone else is doing. Don't worry about what someone else is thinking.
Yeah.
Like, worry about you. And
Yeah.
it's like one of the, I would say,
Yeah.
top three things my dad ever said to me or left with me
Mm.
was that worry about yourself and no one else.
Yeah.
That's the old dad quotes.
Dude,
My dad would
Yeah.
say,
Right.
"Hey, there ain't nothing to it but to do it." He'd say that.
Mm.
He would say, when things were getting tough, he would say, he's like, ain't nothing stopping you but the fear in your heart. I'm like,
yep.
damn,
Oh
all right.
yeah, there it
And then
is.
if somebody was saying some shit to him, like, ain't nothing but air between us.
No. So see,
I'm like, all right,
Mm.
this motherfucker's for real.
you talk about like why we started this, why we do this, why we are where
Yeah.
we are. One, we have great conversations with people. Two, this
We miss our dads,
this
okay?
Uh-huh.
we pull these types of things from our fathers that we're putting into our
Yeah,
sons and
Yeah.
daughters, and
Love it.
hopefully they can share it with their friends, their people. That's
yeah,
how we change the world.
yeah,
Worry
Yeah.
about our two little human beings.
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
our intentions are more, they're more fired because we know the side of when your dad's not here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a lot of questions I'd like to ask that motherfucker. I could have used, raising my son. I'm like, what the fuck was I like? You know what I mean? So the
Yeah.
value, we know the true meaning of the value,
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love
no,
it.
other than that, I hope your followers and fan base enjoys us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Uh,
will for sure because I
And
enjoyed
we're
it.
going to come down to Costa Rica. All right. We're
Yes,
going to
come
bring
buy some
all our friends.
property.
You know what I mean? High rise this thing up. You know what I mean?
You guys are
No,
fucking
but
funny.
and if anybody listening ever wants to reach out to us, chat with us, have us on, be on our
Yeah.
show, whatever, we're probably the most approachable
Yeah.
human beings out there. So,
What was the name real quick? What was the name? Pure Vita? What was it?
Pure Vita. Yeah. Pure
Pure Vita.
life. Yeah.
That shit's
Pure
going
Vita.
into my playbook.
Yeah,
Pure
Pure
Vita.
but
Vita.
I appreciate you, Colleen.
I appreciate you guys too, seriously. And
Yeah.
we'll have all the links in the show notes and stuff. And gonna highly encourage people to definitely reach out to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
Hope
Amazing
you have a
stuff.
wonderful, is it Friday? I hope you have a wonderful
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. And whoever's listening out there, have a great rest of your day and see you guys all again soon. Guys, so I told you what an amazing conversation we got to have. The transparency of the guys, how they stepped into the space, how they showed up in this mechanism. And the things that I want to just say to you is go and follow them on Instagram. Help us spread the word with this conversation that we were having today. Get it into the hands of the men in your life. Get it into the hands of your brothers, your fathers, your neighbors. And let's start to really hone in on this conversation about masculinity, about the strength of masculine men, about what this actually means for the collective and in the world, because this is so important. And again, like I always say, please feel free to tag us and share this out on social. Help us spread this into the energy of the world. and create the momentum behind all the movements that we get to create. You know, we talk a lot about divine femininity on this podcast. Now here come the men inside this space to own this. And we've had some really powerful men jump into this space, and we are always looking for more powerful men. So if you know of anyone that could collaborate into this, please refer them into this. But yeah, go follow the guys, go listen to their podcast, go do the things, and we'll see you guys all in the next episode.